hello and welcome to another painting stream. How are you all doing? Have we all had an excellent Warhammer Fest? I know we're all super pumped for all the new goodies coming out, so yeah, we thought we'd get some paints out, start painting some models, and yeah, clear some of the backlog, ready for yeah, all the excitement that is coming with all the new goodies. How are we doing, gents?
Really good, thanks, Matt. Yeah, yourself?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. I now have to frantically finish some Undead from Curse City because we have got the Grave Lords coming next week, I believe.
Yeah,
this disappoints me.
It disappoints you. It's a surprise one because I was kind of expecting Admech because they were meant to be like last month, weren't they?
Yes, they were, but never mind. What's another week, I suppose?
Exactly. So we've got a lot of people in the chat. We've got Crack and Steve Harbour over on YouTube. How are we doing, chaps? And we have Dodgy Roller on Twitch. How you doing, Andy? Everyone good?
yeah, Andy.
So what we all painting today? I am working on, like I said earlier, the contents of Curse City. So I've got some Bloodborne that I've been painting. Let's see if we can focus on that. So Bloodborne, we've got some base colours down on the skin and the Varg Skier. That's probably what I'll be working on tonight. Try and get all the kind of fur areas done. What are you two working on?
So sorry, go on, Jake.
No, you go, Dave.
I'm currently, I've just started painting a Deathwatch Outrider because I really need to get cracking on my Deathwatch, and I really fancy painting some Deathwatch tonight.
A Deathwatch Outrider.
Oh, is this in the kill team that lets you take a ton of them?
You know that makes sense. Yep. So I can take 5 of them in a kill team and then combat squad them. So I've got 5 Outriders going around the battlefield with objectives secured. Because what's not to like about that?
Because why not?
Why not?
How about you, Jay? What are you working on? Still the Lumineth.
Lumineth on my next 10. So I finished my 20 Wardens, and then I was trying to decide what to paint next. I decided to go for 10 Stone Guard, Alaric Stone Guard.
You've stayed pretty disciplined then with the troops choices.
Yeah, and you're all painting like really cool models, and I'm thinking, I could paint. I really want to paint me Lord Regent. I think I might do him after the Stone Guard. But I figured if I can get these Stone Guard done, I've got. That's the Stone Temple finished, really. I have got another 5 Stone Guard unbuilt under my desk, which I was going to build with the other weapon option.
Oh, yeah.
But at least if I get these 10 finished, that gives me potentially 4 battle line units then. So
that's cool.
I'm in a good position.
We don't know how battle line interacts with the new edition of the game as well. It could be handy to have some different battle line options, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. So yeah, these seem. I mean, I've not done too much on them yet. I'm just base coating the cloak, which is pretty hard to get to. I should have really glued these on separately, but figured if I can get the cloak underneath of the cloaks done first, and then work on the rest of the armor afterwards. I don't think they're going to take as long as the Wardens did. There was lots of sort of tricky detail on the Wardens, which was took a bit time consuming, whereas these guys don't have as much detail on them. So I'm hoping they're a bit quicker. Yeah, that's it. These don't seem as fiddly as the Wardens.
Well, that's good. Well, yeah, I was saying to you guys, I was hoping to get the adversaries from Curse City done by the next podcast, and I've had work to do today, so I've not been able to get much done. I'm hoping if I can get most of these colours down on these guys, though. I've only got left the Radagar, the Chamberlain, and the 2 Kasagi Night Guard. So I'm nearly there. I should be able to get them done by the time the Vampire book goes up for pre-order, I reckon. At the latest. I also need to spray up some Drakari for friend of the show, Craig. Dropped them off yesterday, so I need to do those as well.
Drakari, eh? I thought for a split second then you'd started another 40k army.
No, not quite. So out in the chat, who have we got in the chat? So Dobby says hello, how you doing? Good to see you in the chat. Dodgy Roller is building the Ogre Underworld Warband, having a break from the Mega Gargant. Cool. Craig Sinclair, Cursed City Rats. Crack is working on a Tiamat Swarm Lord. Amazing. Steve Harbour finishing Kotias to go with his Talons Force. And Dazmore Wargaming has just appeared on Twitch as well. How are we doing, matey? What are you painting? So yeah, there's so much stuff that was shown on Warhammer Fest that I want to get. I don't know about you guys.
Oh yeah. My wallet was in tears. So much cool stuff, and I mean, obviously we're gonna pick our favourites for this week's podcast. So, in no particular order, I am very much looking forward to Kragnos.
Kragnos.
Yeah.
You picking him up then with the when the book comes out?
I think so. Yeah. Really looking forward to that model. I mean, like you say, Matt, there's so much cool stuff. Yeah, even down to like the Cadian upgrade sprues. Yeah, so much good stuff was revealed.
Yeah. Oh, it's just I know a lot of people weren't happy because their specific thing that they wanted wasn't shown, which always strikes me as odd considering how many armies we got for each system.
Yeah, a lot.
You know, unfortunately, it is going to be the case that your army probably isn't going to get featured unless you're super lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, we were joking about this yesterday. I'm lucky to have most armies for most systems, so yeah, there's normally something I want to get when we get one of these shows.
Absolutely.
Really excited for the orcs. They look really fun.
The orcs, man.
For a moment, I was like, I'm gonna have to get an orc army, but I think I'm gonna manage to resist that. Maybe because the Stormcast revealed only the day after.
Those
So
Stormcast look so good, don't they?
Oh,
They do look good.
So good. So good. Especially that I can't pronounce the name. I'm not very good at pronouncing names, so I'm not going to embarrass myself. But the lady on the stairs.
Yeah, with the wings.
Lady Sanguinius.
Lady Sanguinius, yeah.
Yeah, I mean she looks
Fantastic.
amazing, and this is assuming that all those models are in the starter box as well. Might be wrong, there might be stuff coming alongside it, but
Yes,
I just get the impression that it's all starter box stuff. That
it normally is, isn't it? I mean, it's just very. I mean, you do get special characters in boxes, I suppose. Sometimes you had Ragnar and Gaskell and. No, I mean like named.
Oh, named characters, yeah.
But it does happen. I mean, if that's an easy build kit, that's incredible, really.
I mean, that's assuming that the starter box is easy build as well, which the last few have, but they have had ones in the past that are not.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it all looks amazing. It really all looks amazing. I'm excited to see what they do. I did have a Stormcast army for a small period at the start of AOS Second Edition, but they never really grabbed me. I much prefer the look of the new guys with the spears, slightly slimmer look to them. The armor looks a bit more kind of, I don't know, not realistic, but it seems more real world, doesn't it? They've got like a Spartan kind of aesthetic to them, haven't they? You see them more kind of like forming a shield lord and pushing the kind of spears that they've got through the little gaps in the shields.
The armor is very nice.
I know a few people were concerned that these were going to be replacing the classic warrior chamber. I really don't think that's going to be the case. I mean, they even mentioned on the stream that these guys aren't quite as well armored as, say, the Liberators. I think they're going to hit harder, but at the moment, the Liberators get a bonus. Was it in the Broken Realms? They can re-roll saves or something? Roll save rolls of 1 or something. Okay. I think they're going to be like your kind of more defensible unit, not very punchy. These guys are going to be a bit more punchy, but maybe lose a tiny bit of the durability.
Yeah, I mean, either way.
Apart from that guy with the big round shield, he's supposed 2-up save.
Oh well, yeah, that guy's different kettle of fish. He's not going anywhere, is he?
No, he looks really cool. I mean, they're essentially Stormcast Terminators, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, really cool. Dodgy roll spray the Drakari silver, Matt. Yeah, really should do that. Dobby's on Razorback touch up. Daz Maul, Steel Curse City. Hope I can get all I want during the next week's pre-order. Crack. I'm saving some money for the new store Black and Gold Dice here in Los Angeles in June. It's supposed to be a little Warhammer world according to its workers. That's really cool. Yeah, that is really cool. Black and Gold Dice as well sound fun. Yeah, because they've currently got the Warhammer Citadel in Texas, I want to say.
It is, yeah.
So yeah, if there's a store like that in Los Angeles, that's cool.
The US tour that they announced on one of the previews sounded really cool. I mean, obviously we're not in the States, but yeah, like a final in Los Angeles as well. That sounds fun.
Yeah, that does sound really fun. I know we've got a few American viewers, so are you guys looking forward to that? Hopefully you get a little bit of. They normally do kind of previews and stuff at those kind of events as well, so that'll be pretty fun to see some stuff. Dasmall hoping to get the limited edition Soul Blight Battle Tome. I'll be happy as everything else isn't limited. Yeah, you should be able to get hold of them. I mean, they might be super popular and stuff sells quickly like Be'lakor did. I can see a lot of people jumping on the Grave Lords. Curly Joe dropping in for the first time. Needs something to get me through Adeptus Titanicus Trim. Another thing to consider is Warcom are doing new models at least once a week now. Yeah, well, we're seeing an awful lot of new models on Warcom. There's a lot of stuff. The big events are not the be-all and end-all of new releases. No, and I quite like the... they've had the Orcs and the Sisters and the Broken Realm stuff dropping every Monday, I think they've been. And I've quite liked that. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, it's been good. It's almost like you look forward to Sundays to see what the preview's going to be. Then you look forward to Mondays to see what the new model reveal is going to be.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if they could do something every day.
It would be. It would be. I mean, there's so many models coming. They probably could at this point in time.
Yeah.
And yeah, thanks for joining us, Curly Joe. If you do want to be notified when we do stream, yeah, give us a little follow. It'd be much appreciated. I know we said we were going to stream this Tuesday. Unfortunately, Real World caught up with us, but I think from this week we should be streaming 2 times a week. I think the plan is, Jay.
Yeah. Sundays and Tuesday nights should be cool.
Yeah, it should be fun. We've got a lot of models to paint, so yeah, we need to get on it, don't we? Craig Sinclair, I'm super hyped for those new Stormcast. Crack has never played a game, only painted, so it should be quite the welcome. Oh, well, that'll be cool. I used to really paint a lot more than play. It's only relatively recently I've been, able to play again. So, yeah. I mean, did you guys kind of start playing the game, or when I started, it was kind of only my brother that I played with, and really I'd kind of get an army and paint it up, and not really have games with anyone else. I don't know what your guys' experience was of kind of the hobby.
We've always been playing, haven't we, Dave? That's how we got into it. But we did do a lot of painting as well back in the day, although our paint jobs probably weren't as fantastic as.
I'd reword that, Jay. You painted a lot of your stuff. I procrastinated a lot and played with a lot of unpainted models, grey plastic models. Our friend Chris used to always comment that I never played with a painted army. Those days have long gone.
Yeah, you've definitely stepped up your painting game, Dave.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely have.
I mean, there's always room for improvement. I think I still don't finish a project in one go. So that's my next kind of challenge, is to, when I start painting something, get that army fully painted in one go. Don't keep coming back to it and getting distracted by other things. Like
actually
rats.
Finish an army.
Yeah, like rats.
Like rats. So the rats are happening though, Dave. Yeah.
Oh, the rats are. I mean, I've said for a long time listening to the podcast will know, I've always been a bit of a fan of the rats, and I haven't built them yet. Otherwise, I might have been painting one on the stream. But I'll try and get some painted this week. But I thought that's why I've got a bit of a growing Deathwatch army, so I really need to get some of my options painted for those. So I thought I'd make the most of tonight's stream.
Yeah, so I'm surprised you did the Deathwatch. I thought you'd be painting ogres or anything but Deathwatch.
Well, the ogres I have unfortunately been put on the back burner whilst I do. I mean, it's no secret that we're hoping to do quite a few streams coming up once obviously lockdown sort of loosens up, and we don't have a Skaven army represented in our forces. So I think I really want to get armies finished that we don't have between us. So as much as I want to do my ogres, you've got quite a few of them, Matt. So I think I can put them back in the queue a little bit. and concentrate on some other stuff. Hence the Death Watch as well. We don't have a Death Watch army. I know we've got other marine armies, but they're quite unique. So yeah, I thought I'd try and get these finished.
Cool. We've got Venerable Gamer 4 just turned up in the chat. How are you doing? Who is assembling their corpse rats this evening? That's pretty cool. I really enjoy painting the corpse rat. You guys haven't painted any of the adversaries yet out of Kirsty?
No, I haven't. They're up here.
Not the adversaries. No.
They're really nice models, and really easy to paint. I've been following Nick Baton's painting guides for most of it, and yeah, dead quick to paint up, which is nice. So yeah, working on the Varg Skier, who is an ace model. I wish there was like units of them. It's a shame that he's just a single standalone model.
Do you think you'll get a multi-part kit at some point in the future?
If we get another wave of Gravelords at some point in the future, then possibly. I don't think so until then, just because I imagine that the Gravelords book's just going to have the single one out of Curse City for now. That's not to say we don't have a Lumineth situation where we get another book maybe, during the run of 3rd edition.
Mm.
I think
that's
likely.
a possibility.
Adding some new units, adding, updated dragons, that kind of stuff would be fun. Crack says, I don't follow Sigmar lore too much, but did I understand correctly that there's a werewolf faction coming? If so, I'm all in. Yeah, so technically they're vampires, but they're vampires with a werewolfy flavour. I guess in Warhammer, werewolves and vampires are much the same thing, but yeah, they're basically vampires that turn into wolves. And yeah, very, very cool. At the minute, it's kind of this guy, and you've got the Bloodborne, and a couple of characters. I am hoping that in the future, as they expand the Gravelord's range, we get units of Argskiers, units of Bloodborne, and really expand that Vikros part of the Soul Lords, because that looks really, really good. I think that was my favourite stuff that they showed off, more so than the more traditional vampire side of the Gravelords.
Yeah, I really like the wolves. They were really cool. Especially Radikar the Beast. I mean, what a model.
He is a beast. I mean, if you just want to do a purely kind of like werewolf themed army, Dire Wolves, a battle line. So you could build an army around all the wolfy stuff, and I think that'd look really cool on the table as well. Hopefully over the next week, Warcom should start having a few kind of previews on what's in the Gravelord's book, so we can start to have an idea of rules. Because I imagine they may have changed quite a bit since the Legions of Nagash book, which is... When did that come out, Dave? It's a few years now, isn't it?
Yeah, it came out a very long time ago. Wasn't it just before AOS 2?
Possibly. It all merges together, but I think you might be right.
I think it was one of the last books of the first AOS.
Because we had a period really during AOS 2 where they've been kind of consolidating and patching up some of the armies that are holdovers from Warhammer Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Where who knows, going out now, you might see brand new stuff. I'm super excited to see the 3rd edition of Age of Sigmar. I mean, Matt, we love AOS, don't we?
We do.
So sorry.
Not originally. Not originally. I remember when I first got my Stormcast, couldn't get you guys to play. Well, mainly Jay. Couldn't get you guys to play it.
No, I didn't like Age of Sigmar 1st edition.
I think the turning point was the General's Handbook.
Yes,
adding points in, adding more scenarios. Well, scenarios full stop. Kind of making it into a proper game.
Yeah. But you were saying, Matt, about you're looking forward to what's coming next now that they've kind of patched up the old armies. And speaking of which, we've got obviously the new adversaries for the Stormcast going into AOS 3.
So obviously Warcom have kind of teased this, and they're not revealing it quite yet. I think we've got another few previews within the next month, probably leading up to the release of it. But I I have a suspicion these are going to be either a faction kind of allied with Kragnos to make him the big kind of centerpiece model for that army. It wouldn't surprise me if they're a new faction. So, say, Thamir fit the bill of kind of living around in swamps and bogs and mires, and they fade away into the mist after they've done their raids, which again is very kind of on brand for that little teaser trailer they did. If not Thamir, it could well be like the concept of Thamir, but put into a different aesthetic. So a goblinoid race or kobolds or something like that. I think Thamir would be popular though.
I was really excited. I wasn't expecting this. Thamir, I very near. Well, I almost did. The reason I didn't start a Thamir army, they did a really cool bundle on Forge World, and I was going to pick that up, and convert up a noble, because they had war scrolls, I think, for 2 different units, and there was concepts like a sculpt of a matriarch as well, but it had no model for it, proper model for it. So I was like, I could convert up some stuff. I was looking at the swamp troll, the bog troll, the troll hag, as well, to take her in an army, and some of because destruction are quite a cool set of monsters as well off Forge World you could use. So I was playing around, but I never pulled the trigger. If these are a reimagined Thamir, that's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean they might not be. That's my current guess, just based on what we know so far. Because that'd be cool. Because they often use a new starter box as a way of launching a new army, because you've got a lot of kits and supplemental plastic kits that you can put out alongside it, isn't there? So obviously the first Age of Sigmar box was Stormcast versus Chaos. Second one had the Nighthaunt, and again, essentially the Nighthaunt range was created within that starter box. In the same way that the Necrons have been reinvented, really, and have had a whole new range with the 40k box. So, so with this, there's definitely a good chance it's going to be a new race, and I think that's really exciting. I mean, they've pretty much said it's something new, haven't they?
Yeah, new breed of evil, and that's cool as well, because the Thamir were destruction, but they were almost like chaos tainted destruction. They reminded me a lot of the Shaggoth Dragon Ogres, who, although touched by chaos, they weren't chaos. They still, they retained their own free will, and they sort of resented the fact actually they'd been corrupted by chaos. And the Thamir were like that. They were like, I mean, you look at like the orcs, the ogres, the giants. They're not evil races, they're just destructive races, whereas the Thamir had that sinister, a bit like the goblins, where they're destruction, but they've also got a bit of a sinister side to them.
Yeah, the Thamir are like you say, they're one of the few kind of truly evil destruction races, which is fun. It's a different thing for the Stormcaster fight in the new edition, and with the what's she called, the spear, whatever her name is.
The monster hunter.
Indrasta. Yeah, she's a monster hunter, which suggests there are going to be some monsters for her to fight, isn't there?
Has to be.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. Steve Albert says, talking about Marines, fingers crossed for new Grey Knights. Want to do a kill team? Yeah, I know you're a fan of the Grey Knights as well, Jay.
Yeah, I remember when they first got. Not when they first got models. I mean, they had models in previous editions, but when they got redone in 3rd, I think it was Demon Hunters Codex. I picked up a big army of them then, all the metal power armored Marines and Terminator armor. And I have dabbled with Grey Knights once or twice over the years, and I do like them. So yeah, it was really exciting to see the trailer. So we didn't glimpse much. Sort of, we could maybe get a few hints at what the contents of a new battle box will be, but it definitely looked like they're a new version of Castellan Crow, which is he was like one of the purifiers, I want to say. He has a demon blade, which apparently is one of the most deadly demon blades in existence, and only Castellan Crow is pure enough to actually wield it, but he doesn't use it it's like a deactivated demon blade, so it's actually a pretty tough weapon, because he basically renders it sort of useless. That's part of his job. So it looks in the sort of artwork we saw that a potential new model for Castellan Crow, and these battle boxes, they normally have at least one new model in them.
Yeah, yeah. Normally we'll have a hero for each side, won't they? Occasionally you might get a new unit, like in the case of the Eldar box that I forget the name of. So yeah, it looks like on the Thousand Suns side, who are presumably the adversaries in this box, looks like there was a new kind of Chaos Sorcerer and a Slangor character as well. Not Slangor,
Zangor.
Zangor character as well, which I think we've seen his Zinch icon in a rumor engine recently as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that should be a pretty cool box.
I've been sorting out my hobby room today. I'm going to be like getting rid of quite a bit of stuff to try and make room for some of my new armies that are coming in. And I was tidying up my Thousand Suns, and I've always fancied picking up some of it because I've got a Heresy Thousand Suns army, but I've always fancied picking up some of the plastic ones, the new plastic ones,
the 40k ones.
Yeah, so I think I might actually, well, I will be getting on board with that.
Yeah, well, presumably you're probably going to get a unit of Zangors, I don't know, a unit of Rubric Marines and the two characters maybe on the Thousand Sun side, and then it looks like it's definitely a Dread Knight on the Grey Knight side. So even if it was something like elite, like a unit of Terminators, a Dread Knight, and then the character.
Well, it did sort of look like he was wearing Terminator armor in the artwork for it in the trailer. Obviously, Castellan Crowe doesn't wear Terminator armor currently, and like you'd probably assume he would have gone through the Rubicon and been Primarisized, but I don't know if that's going to be a thing for the Grey Knights. It'd be a bit odd him being the only Primaris Marine in the Grey Knight army, if that's
Unless,
the
of
case.
course, they release normally these boxes come alongside the two codexes for the armies in them. Obviously, for the Drukhari, we've seen that, haven't we? We've got the Drukhari with the sisters on the way shortly. Obviously, it's a little bit different there because I think the release schedule's been a little bit moved around, hasn't it, due to current global issues. But yeah, so you never know. There could be. The good thing with Grey Knights is that the current boxes build about 3 units each, don't they? Essentially, a Terminator box, a Power Armor box. It wouldn't be a massive stretch to think that they could release a Primaris Grey Knight box.
Yeah, with a couple of unit options in. Yeah.
And that'd be cool. So yeah, let's see what's going down in the chat. So Curly Juice says the Vamp Dragon side don't really have a big Behemoth monster, I guess. The Vamp Wolf side don't have the classic mounted lord either. New Battle Box of Thousand Suns versus Grey Knight was teased day 5. Venerable Gamer, I don't play AOS, far too much grey plastic as it is. But isn't it strange to release a book for Gravelords with AOS 3 on the horizon? So, traditionally, books at the end of an edition are written with the next edition in mind. When we did our Lumineth review, there was a couple of things in that book that had us scratching our heads, wasn't there, Jay?
Yeah.
And I imagine all that will become clear once 3rd edition drops. They're not silly. They don't want to make your entire army invalid, as much as people might whinge on the internet about it. It will have been written with that in mind, and they were saying you might find some units that you didn't look at previously are suddenly amazing in 3rd edition. So yeah, it's definitely going to be cool to have a look through our armies and see what's changed when the new edition drops. I Can Mix, how are you doing? You over there on Twitch. Hi guys, happy Sunday. Hope you're all well. Just wondered what you were most excited about from Warhammer Fest reveals this week. Mine was Indrasta. It's hard because there was loads of really cool stuff. Gut feeling, that new Orc army box.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. I think I'm very excited to see what this new breed of evil is for Age of Sigmar. I always like new armies. Yeah. But the Orcs, that were fantastic. I also thought Gaunt's Ghosts were quite surprisingly. That was quite a nice, cool thing to see.
And of course, Crab, the master we deserve right now.
Bob the Crab. We
need an army of crabs. If Ideneth get units of crabs, they're coming out of their box and getting played with again. What about you, Dave? What was your thing you're most excited about?
I have to I have to agree on the new Stormcast lady. She was fantastic. Kragnos, amazing model. Can't wait for him to lead some Oruks. I'm actually secretly hoping there's a big new like Be'lakor can have his Legion of Demons. I'm hoping Kragnos has an army of just like destruction stuff.
I think they said that in the preview, didn't they?
Yeah,
Oh, did they?
did.
Ah. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And actually, I'm going to agree with Gaunt's Ghost as well. I forgot about those. They almost make me want those and the Canadian upgrade squads. Really make me want to get some guard on the go.
Yeah, I've wanted to. I mean, I do Deathcore Krieg, but I suppose they're not as accessible, to do on the cheap compared to other guard regiments. And I do Cassicians, but I can't bring myself to build those old kits. At least with the Cadians, even though it's an older kit, it does update them somewhat, and there's some really nice head and weapon options on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope they sell upgrade sprue. Oh, we've got a new follower, Grim Dan. How you doing, Grim Dan? Yeah, so I'm really excited to see in that. I mean, third edition I'm really excited for, but I guess it wasn't a surprise because we kind of expected it. We knew it was coming, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
We thought it was going to be that or Horus Heresy, but I mean, we definitely thought, I wasn't surprised to see Age of Sigmar 3.
No, I mean, it's definitely coming this year. Our only kind of question mark was like, oh, wow, Kragnos isn't out yet, so maybe we won't see everything. And to be fair, we didn't see everything. We just got the confirmation that a new edition's coming and a couple of new models. A couple of awesome new models. But yeah, I think once Kragnos is out, I think they'll then show off, I guess, an animated teaser similar to the 40k one, and then the contents of the box. That'd be pretty fun, wouldn't it?
It would. Yeah, be full steam ahead as soon as Kragnos comes out.
Yeah. So yeah. What all you guys in the chat, what have you been most excited about? Did you enjoy Warhammer Fest? Did you not enjoy Warhammer Fest? Anyone on there who wasn't a fan of it? So David Anderson, looking forward to that Grey Knights versus Thousand Suns battle box. Always looking for more motivation to finish my Thousand Suns. Cool. Steve Harbour's got a good point. Albion returns. Fen Beasts. Yeah, do you remember it was in White Dwarfs? You remember that, the Albion army list?
Yeah.
There was giants. There was like an Albion wizard. There was the Fen Beasts. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
It was a while back.
Back in the olden days, everything was black and white then, Dave. Venerable Gamer, Famir just takes me back to my Hero Quest youth. 3 attack dice, 3 defense dice. Curly J says Famir Warriors, Fimriarch Noble are on Forge World.
Yeah, he was the hero option. There was no model for him, and he wasn't too different from the regular warriors really in terms of stats. And then, like I say, there was some concept sculpt for like a matriarch as well, but she never saw the light of day. Whether they took that and said, "Hang on, we'll do all this," we've got plans for these in the future. So,
well, this is what I think. Obviously, a lot of people were excited for that, and then it just disappeared to the point where, these things do take a lot of time. There's a long lead time on designing miniatures. And I do wonder if that's what's happened. They've gone, actually, we're going to do these in Age of Sigmar proper, which is cool.
Make them into a proper faction, yeah.
Yeah, so that's really exciting. Curly Joe also says the Famir in the roster for Norska in Total War Warhammer, again linking to Chaos. Grim Dan, evening boys, Soul Blight next week. Me and my group weren't overly impressed with Warhammer Fest. Thought they could have done a bit more, maybe a panel type show. Restrictions for companies aren't that strict now, I think. They could have done that maybe. Seemed a bit cheap. I don't know. I don't know if they'd have been better served rather than doing it over the full week. Maybe doing it, a couple of hour-long shows rather than 6 half-hour-long shows, maybe.
You mean like the online previews they used to do? I say used to do. They've done recently, yeah.
So
I actually thought. I mean, you mentioned the panels there. Yeah, that's a good idea actually. But I did think that the the interviews they had with the design staff were very good, including the one at the end with the Age of Sigmar team. That was really good.
Yeah, I did like that. I mean, I enjoyed Warhammer Fest. I mean, I'm a big nerd, and yes, it was a shame there wasn't any heresy. I think a lot of people maybe, and I know Warcom doesn't help themselves because they will hype everything up, and I don't know if maybe people were expecting more because they'd hyped it up so much. I think the thing to try and remember is realistically, the things that they've been teasing is generally what you're going to get. We did get a couple of surprises, didn't we? Like the Thunderhawk gunship.
Yep.
That came out of nowhere.
Gaunt's Ghost, the
Gaunt's
Cadians.
Ghost, yeah. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. I think with having it as a half-hour show at 6 o'clock each day, more of the audience could watch it because it covered more time zones. I mean, it's part of the reason why we moved this show from lunchtime to 7 p.m. UK time, because that way, you know, people who want to watch it in the US and the UK can both watch it at the same time.
Yeah.
Where normally those preview shows they do are 1 o'clock and run for what, an hour and a half or so. So yeah, I think I think that's a good thing. I enjoyed it. What about you guys? Anything you didn't like about it?
No Eldar. I think they should have had more. I say no Eldar actually. They had the Aeronautica.
They did have. There was Eldar in there.
That was surprising to see that. I mean, it's good to see Eldar in Aeronautica, but I really would have loved to have seen some Adeptus Titanicus, like the future of Adeptus Titanicus. I know we're going to get the Traitor Legions one, but I would like to see, you know, they promised so long ago that they would be other factions, and
they said there would eventually be new factions. I don't think they ever promised, but they said eventually they could get to new factions.
Yeah, I just think, you know, it would be good to see that now. It's that popular game system. I think it could support other factions now.
Yeah, I think once we see the Traitor Titans, the Corrupted Titans, then we're probably at the point where that's probably most of the releases done for it then. And at that point, I guess we'd probably see the Orc stuff first, wouldn't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gargants and the like.
Do you know the biggest surprise for me from Warhammer Fest was nothing about Storyforge? I was expecting an announcement that it would, you know... I think we joked that maybe the big reveal on Saturday was that the first episode of Angels of Death might be available to watch straight away or something like that. But it wasn't given a mention. Yeah, it wasn't mentioned at all.
No. Yeah, strange one that. So David Anderson says a lot of Warhammer Fest missed the mark for me. That said, new Stormcast are gelling nicely with my current focus on finally painting my Anvil's army, and the battle box was a nice touch. Curly Joe, not a lot that is relevant to my various forces, but I did really like the Aeronautica Space Marine Flyers. They may become Adeptus Titanicus basing material, yet they're exactly the same scale, so yeah, I think a lot of people might be doing that. Grim Dan loved the interviews, they were really good. Craig Sinclair thinks the Heresy box will be this year's Black Friday box. Yes. Now, traditionally, the last couple of years, Specialist Games have put out a big box around November in time for Black Friday. So this has included the big Necromunda box. I think both Adeptus Titanicus boxes have been there. Blood Bowl was it this year. So it certainly wouldn't surprise me if they were doing a big Heresy box that it comes out that slot, because that's a good time of year to sell things for, you know, Christmas and stuff as well. So that's definitely a possibility. And obviously if it was that, they're not going to show it yet, because you only ever see stuff at these previews that are getting released within the next 3 months. And I think if you're ever expecting more than that, you're getting your hopes up a little bit, unfortunately, just because that's how they do the previews, and that's always how they've done the previews. Curly Joe, definitely miss Heresy. My force is firmly on hold for now until some development. LQC, good to see you. It says orcs. I think they might like orcs. Grim Dan, as a Sisters player, I did love seeing the new stuff. Also a Death player in AOS, so love seeing the Soul Blight. The models were definitely awesome, but I felt it was maybe too hyped. Can't wait for proper Warhammer Fest next year, though. Yeah, absolutely. I have really missed events. I mean, we used to go to all the preview events at Warhammer World, didn't we? That was a really good day out. 'Cause you
The
got
open days,
you got
yeah.
entry to the exhibition. You can go to Bugman. So hopefully we're not too far off being able to do those again.
Always came home with some new toys.
Yeah, it's always an expensive day out, but it was really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed them. So yeah, I have missed that this last, what we are now, 15 months, maybe more than that now. I forget, it all blurs together.
Yeah, looking forward to travelling up to Warhammer World again.
Yeah, I obviously no Golden Demon this year as well. And one of the things that we said on the New Year anniversary show was I want to try and push my painting and enter tournaments and stuff, and I haven't been able to. So I'm getting a pass for that one, Dave, just because it's not been open. I think I've tried to push my painting this year though.
Yeah, absolutely. Your painting's awesome, Matt. I really like all your recent stuff.
Cheers.
Especially your Soulblight, Gravelord, Underworlds.
Really, really enjoyed painting them. Really, really enjoyed painting them. I'm gonna have to pre-order all the stuff, aren't I, next weekend? I was hoping it'd be end of the month, but I've got, if I get this stuff out of Curse City painted, in addition to the Crimson Court, who, if you've looked on the preview, it shows one of their war scrolls, and it looks like they're all individual characters, which is ace.
Oh, right. That's good.
Yeah, that is good.
It means you can just drop them into your army, because we were saying like it's going to be a strange one if it's like 400 and something points for 4 characters, and that takes a lot of your character allowance. And again,
That'll be the first one, isn't it, where you can take them
Yeah.
individually, and all the other ones you sort of have to take them together.
and that's assuming that character allowances and battle line choices and all that stays the same in 3rd edition, because
Yeah.
from the developer interview, I think we're going to have some quite big changes there.
What do we think? I know this has been a hot topic. What do we think about the double turn staying?
Fine. I think the double turn's one of the best things about Sigmar, to be fair. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm glad it's staying, actually.
It adds a different aspect to the game, doesn't it?
It makes it more distinct from 40k.
Yeah. What about you guys in the chat? Do you like the double turn? Do you not like the double turn? Have you not played Sigmar and you maybe want to give it a go with 3rd edition? It's I really enjoy Sigmar. I always have. And like with 40k, a new edition's always really fun to breathe new life into it. Like, we were super into 40k when the new edition dropped. Unfortunately, it was just at a time of the year where we didn't manage to get many games until we went back into lockdown again.
No.
No, sadly not.
But hopefully, Games Workshop will play the blinder if AOS 3 releases as lockdowns eased completely.
Yeah, they've timed their new editions of the games to really well, haven't they? Maybe Boris has got some shares in Games Workshop or something.
Maybe it's a bit political for the stream, isn't it?
I'll stop with any more political bants.
Steve Harper says, didn't they say there was going to be more previews this month? I believe they said there was going to be 2 more previews in the next month.
2 more, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to be Age of Sigmar 3 focused myself.
I think so. I think once Kragnos is out, we'll probably see the first kind of big... I think we'll see one maybe focusing on the adversaries in the box, and then another where they start kind of going whole hog into the changes, going into the new system, going into the box,
the mechanics,
mechanics, all that kind of stuff. For 40k era, it was maybe about a month's worth of content. They had stuff on Warcom, they had interviews. We knew quite a lot, didn't we, before we got our hands on it in the run up to pre-order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I assume there'll be some big like points adjustments as well across the board in like.
I'd assume so, because we didn't get the big points adjustments in December, and again I assume it's because this edition was coming. It was silly putting out points changes when there was going to be a whole new edition drop in. I know a lot of people were a bit upset that the FAQ didn't drop, but I understand why. Absolutely understand why. You're not going to spend all that time if there's a new edition on the way.
Yeah, they would have been too busy doing other things.
Especially if people weren't playing games then either. It'd be a bit different if there's an active tournament scene, but
Yeah.
the world's been locked down for the last year, so yeah. So yeah, I imagine we'll probably see General's Handbook 21 and have all the adjusted points in there. So that'll be interesting. And I wonder if some of the so they mentioned that the way that you build armies is probably going to change. So moving away from War Scroll battalions, which a lot of people have always used as the basis for building their army, just because the benefits are so good compared to not taking them. But we'll move away from that to what sounds like something closer to the detachment system in 40k. Now we already know that there's more command points. You seem to regenerate command points now, so I've got a feeling that you'll pick a core battalion, and that could have, I don't know, 3 battle line, 3 other, and a HQ, just for example. I don't know the details, and that will give you a certain number of command points per turn. You could go for a more elite build that maybe unlocks, I don't know, 4 Behemoths and no battle line. However, that only gives you 1 command point per turn. And then by using a combination of them, you build your army. And that then gives you a lot of variety. One of the good things about the new edition of 40k, you can pretty much play whatever army that you want.
Yeah.
So if you wanted, you can't really do that at the minute.
No. They have got better with unlocking different battle lines, but yeah, I think that's going to be a really good change. I mean, what I didn't like about War Scroll battalions is I'd rather just take extra models instead of paying points for battalions.
Yeah.
And I know we've mentioned this an awful lot, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with command abilities and relics. Now that battalions are no more in match play, like, what other ways are we going to have to unlock relics, and will we be able to give command abilities to other heroes, not just your warlord, giving you the chance to use some of the command abilities that just get ignored?
Yeah.
Command traits.
Command traits, yeah.
I reckon we'll see something like that. I think your artifacts, obviously in the newer 9th edition 40k books, a lot of your units have got pointed upgrades. I wonder if you could see artifacts done in a similar way. So possibly, you can buy a number of magic items like you would do in classic Warhammer. Obviously there's been some rumours kicking around that seem more likely now after some of the points that Ben mentioned on the interview yesterday, such as if you go second you get more command points. So there was a video, and I can't remember who did the video. If anyone does know, whack it in the chat. But someone did a video where they'd supposedly seen the new rule set, and they said that one of the things that's coming back is charge reactions, and they cost command points. So it could be that if you're in a super defensive army, you might want to let your opponent go first in order to have a big defensive line of troops that can stand and shoot or fall back on the charge. I think it's going to make the choice on whether you go first and second much more important than it is currently. Obviously that's based on just stuff in a random video and what they've said yesterday. I have got a post up on the site of what we know so far about this edition, and we will update that post as we learn more. So we've kind of got a collected resource with all the kind of AOS 3 news. So Steve Harbour says there's going to be more previews this month. Grimdan, can't believe they're doing skellies and zombies in boxes of 20. This is a huge positive move. What do you guys think? Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't notice that. That is good.
It's really good. It's really good. So I had already thought, I'm going to have to buy a couple of boxes of each of them. Obviously, if you've got Curse City as well, buy a box of each, and you've got 2 units of 30 kind of core troops. That's really, really good.
Yeah, good.
Curly Joe, what do you think needs to change in AOS, and what would be good to keep? For me, I feel like viable list flexibility isn't as high as it could be. Most factions have very few good builds. So yeah, that's pretty much what we were just saying there, where I really hope that there's more variety in the way that you build your lists. I think that makes things a bit more interesting, so you're not using net lists. I think we said this time last week that we're going to play some battle reports pretty much using non-net list armies, so there's some kind of different things on the go.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a good point though. With the current War Scroll Battalion system, you are sort of, even if you didn't want to use you wanted more freedom in unit selection, you are sort of tied a little bit by the War Scroll Battalion, and they dictate to you what units you can take, and that's never a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a problem that 40k had a long time ago, where
with the
benefit was just so the benefit was just so good, you'd never not take it.
Well, it's not even. You're right. In some cases, the benefits are amazing, and that's how you build your list. Take 3 units of this, 1 unit of that, 1 unit of that, and you'll get that benefit. But then for other factions, the benefits aren't as obvious. You're basically purely taking it because you need that extra artifact and command point to go into the game with. So, like, I don't know, Sylvaneth is a good example where you're forced to take units. Like, you only want to take 2 Tree Lords, but you've got to take 3 Tree Lords for this particular, and then pay points on top of that. I much prefer, the option of if you take 2 Battle Line, 1 Hero, one Behemoth, and you've got a choice of all those different things you can take. Then, okay, some armies I think have some really, really strong War Scroll. I mean, look at Tzeentch and the Horrors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you compare that. You've said this a lot, Dave, in the past, where some armies just have access to some incredible War Scroll battalions.
Yeah,
to the point where it doesn't make the game fun, which is a bad thing for the game, really.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be such a variance between what's good and what isn't good. Gracie, I never actually played a game as I've come back to the hobby in lockdown, so a new edition is an opportunity to join when everybody is learning a bit. Now, a new edition is absolutely a great time to get back into it because everybody's in the same position, aren't they? There's not really the kind of net list issue. If it's a fairly big change, a lot of the current lists now won't necessarily work with the scenarios in the next edition. So it means that you've got as much chance as somebody who's been into the game for years, which is really good in my book. Dodgy Roller, I've always found that the double turn can either bring you back into a game or put you in a really good positive position to win. I'd like to see more incentives to not take the double turn. Yeah, I think if you make the choice for a double turn a really hard thing, that makes the game really fun because then you're like, oh, what if I'd have gone second? I might have won the game. Venerable Gamer, I would have liked a completely new Blood Bowl team in Warhammer Fest, otherwise I thought it was really good. Yeah, a lot of the specialist stuff didn't get too much of a look in. When I thought we'd see a Blood Bowl team, I thought we'd see the next Titanicus book. I suppose the problem is there's so much stuff, and this is all stuff within the next 3 months. There's a lot to slot in, isn't there?
It did make me laugh.
There was no Lord of the Rings, was there?
No.
It did make me laugh. On the week before's podcast, I made the statement that we wouldn't see any Necromunda stuff, and I think I named everything else. And one of the first things we saw was Necromunda stuff.
Oh, how good do those new Delac look?
We've not even had a chance to mention them yet, have we?
I've got a Delac gang painted up, and I'll be adding all that stuff to it because they look so cool. We're going to start a Necromunda campaign when we can. Jay, are you joining in with your Cawdor?
Yeah, I was thinking about doing the Cawdor, yeah.
That'd be fun. I think Dodgy Roller in the chat was up for some Necromunda as well, so if anybody's local to the area, yeah, hit us up because a little bit of Necromunda would be good. I was chatting to Chris Peach on Twitter. He was up for playing some Necromunda as well, so yeah, it'd be really fun. Grim Dan, they mentioned something about getting more command points if you went second in the interview. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how all this new command point stuff works.
I have a feeling the high elf Lumineth spell Total Eclipse, where command abilities cost an extra command point, will be quite useful in this Age of Sigmar 3rd edition.
Definitely, that's a good call actually. Especially your charge reactions.
Yeah.
Force people to use their command points, and then actually you've got to spend more to use it. Yeah. Dodgy Roller says, have you guys thought about doing a Tale of Many Gamers thing for the new edition?
Yes, I think we should. I was going to mention this to you guys actually. I know we've had a go at it before, but I think we should have a go at it again. I might even hold off my Skaven until that, so I can make a proper start on them then.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm up for that. What are we thinking? Kind of time coincided with the new edition of the game.
Yeah. So once the new edition launches, we'll get the tail going.
Let's do it.
Maybe set either a points challenge or something.
Monetary value or something like that.
Yeah.
Like the old classic ones in White Dwarf.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know, if we're timing it with the new edition of the game, presumably, Jay, you're going to be doing the bad guys out of the starter box.
I will be doing the bad guys out of the starter box, yeah.
And Dave,
because I'm
you're
hoping
doing-
to have Lumineth done by then.
Awesome. And then, obviously, my vampires will be painted by the time that comes out anyway, won't they? Let's face it. And I'll be adding demons here or there. Dave, I take it you're doing your Skaven as a new project for that.
I will do. Yeah.
So perhaps I could do the Stormcast.
Yeah.
New Stormcast out of the new box. I'm thinking that white and blue colour scheme.
So I'll be getting the new Stormcast, but I've already got a lot of them. So I think once I've got it depends on what we see really, but once I've got the stuff from the box, if all that stuff is obviously in the box, I'll already have a very, very large Stormcast army. So it'd be nice to do something else.
Yeah, well, I'll do the Stormcast as part of our challenge then.
Excellent.
Yeah, that storm host. Did anyone in the chat know what that storm host is? We were chatting yesterday, and we
didn't know if it was an alternate. See, the thing that makes me think it's an alternate scheme for the Hammers of Sigmar was it had the nice blue shoulder pad. I don't know.
Give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna put my headset down and grab the battle tome. 1 moment.
Okay.
It might be a new one.
It could be a new one, yeah.
If the Celestial Vindicators are sort of been battered, they might, they've got all these free cities opening up all over the shop.
And that's it. They might need, reinforcements that have been created in line with the new armor. Dodgerilla says 400 to 500 points a month. Yeah, that's not a bad shout. Yeah, I'll do that. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Those guys, Matt?
Yes, those guys. Who are they?
They are the Knights Excelsior.
The Knights Excelsior. Cool.
Yeah. What's their? I mean, obviously, it could be changing in the new book, but what's their thing? So currently, they look like. Well, actually, they seem really good. If a friendly Knights Excelsior unit makes an attack that destroys an enemy unit, you can re-roll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made by Knights Excelsior unit for the rest of the battle.
Oh, that's good.
So that's pretty good. Their command ability, you can re-roll wounds of 1 on a unit, like a lieutenant. It has to be a hero. It has to have a hero within 9 inches, and you get a really cool spell as well. So yeah, they seem pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll do Knights Excelsior army then. Gracie says Knights Excelsior. I see a lot of people suggest. Yeah, they seem to really suit that new armor style with the really cool shields and the. I mean, they're basically world eaters, aren't they? Let's not beat around the bush. That's why I like them.
They do look like world eaters.
And I really like
white armor as well is deceptively not easy to paint, but there's some good techniques you can use to paint white armor, especially if you want to make it a bit weathered looking like that.
Yeah,
using thin down contrast and things like that over Corax white spray and a Corax white base. So white armor can look really nice. You can get it looking really neat quite easily.
Even weathering pigments into the recesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do them. There we go. That was easily designed, wasn't it? Never takes me much convincing to start a new army, to be fair.
No. I am really looking forward to adding those new Stormcast to my Celestial Vindicators. I just wonder what else we'll see for them.
Well, presumably, so and usually the first books out for an edition of the 2 battle tomes in the starter box, aren't they? So Stormcast will probably get a new book off the bat, and I imagine I'll get some new units alongside it. Let's face it.
Yeah.
What would you like to see for the Stormcast that they haven't currently got?
I'd like to see a lion. I'd like to see a new hero on a lion.
Well,
mount.
Dave, there's a rumor engine we've not seen yet, which has got like a paw.
I didn't even realise I wanted one until they were mentioning so much about the lion kind of emblems on the during the Warhammer Fest stream, and I was like, oh yeah, how cool would it be to see a Lord Celestin or something on a massive lion?
It'd be really cool. It'd be very, very cool. And like you said, there's a lot of lion motifs on these models, so it's certainly a possibility, isn't it?
It is. Definitely is.
I mean, I'm guessing it would be called a lion. It would be a celestial lion beast.
Lion. What are the griff lion?
Griff lion, yeah, Grifflian. Something like that. Yeah, that'd be really cool. I'd like to see that.
I don't know what else.
Really, the Stormcast have got a lot of stuff, haven't they?
Yeah,
they've got a massive.
I tell you what I'd like to see, Dave. I know what I'd like to see.
Go on.
A scenery piece.
Oh yeah, I would like to see a scenery piece.
Well, this is it. Now, obviously, due to Be'lakor being Be'lakor and spoilers, but basically taking out the realm gates and stopping the ability to return to his heir, which it looks like a certain dwarf has managed to sort out in the new armour. I wonder if what about a mobile forge for reusing those souls that can't get back to his heir?
Yeah, like a big soul engine thing. Now there was the artwork they showed us right at the end, with that thing in the background, which we said, it looks like a system flying temple thing. That would be cool.
Do you know the first thing that came to mind then, Matt, when you said that? A Ghostbusters trap that was trapping all the Stormcast
pretty much
souls.
Even if they can't reuse them, they could weaponize them maybe. Sigmar is not exactly the nicest guy in the world, is he? I'm sure
I like the
no
background for the
qualms.
Stormcast.
You like the what? Sorry.
I like the background for the Stormcast. They're not. They're and the fact they're losing now as well, and they're no longer immortal. They're not. When they first come out, they just seem like faceless, sort of generic good guys. But actually,
superheroes, and they were like, we'll single-handedly free the realms from chaos. Where now it seems like the edition's been set up where actually the good guys are on the back foot. Everything's gone wrong. I think on the podcast we were saying how Teclis went from the good guys have won, we've defeated Nagash, everything's looking up, and then Be'lakor comes along and goes nope. And it looks like, obviously we don't know what happens in the last book yet, presumably nothing good, but it seems that Be'lakor's plan has worked. Then it's not just Shaman that's kind of cut off. It seems like the whole Realm Gate network's been damaged by the destruction of 2 Silver Towers and Be'lakor up to no good, which is really cool. I like the fact that maybe some times past, demonic invasions everywhere, it's all gone to pot, and meanwhile all these new destruction beasts are rampaging around the free cities, and the role of the Stormcast is now pretty much trying to find a kind of a beachhead and setting up a new city. That sounds really cool to me.
Yeah. They did say that they sent out thousands of these sort of beacons, haven't they? And only 1 in 1,000 survived to found a new city.
Yeah. And that's some cool background for your own kind of Stormcast force as well, then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we haven't mentioned this yet, but they mentioned more narrative content, didn't they? I'm pretty sure.
Did they? I don't think they mentioned any narrative content.
Did they not? Pretty sure they did. Well, if they didn't, they should. Because obviously we've been talking a lot on the podcast about we'd love to see something like Crusade for AOS. And you mentioned about creating your own storm house. That'd be really good. I think they must be doing something like Crusade, surely.
Not necessarily. I think if they were, we might have heard more about it.
Yeah, I think we will. I'm holding out hope. I've got faith.
I'd like us to. You've got faith. I'd like there to be. I think that'd be really fun. But I do wonder if it'd be something more like the Envelope of Apotheosis rather than Crusade.
Oh, that could fit into the same.
Just to differentiate it a bit.
Yeah.
and have it all about creating your characters and creating your armies rather than the. I mean, again, obviously we know very little about the new edition of the game, and I think over the coming weeks and months we'll learn a little bit more. And if there is something like Crusade, I'd be thrilled because Crusade's amazing. Oh, Dodgeball says there is some narrative stuff similar to Crusade. It's in the article. Okay, awesome. Well, that's really cool then. I must have missed that.
Thanks, Andy. I thought it was going bonkers. I was sure I read or heard something about narrative content.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. I like that side of it. So we are just over an hour in. So should we see what we've been working on, guys?
Sure.
So let's whack over to my camera. So let's get this focused. The Varg's gear is coming along. I've done the fur. I've got the base colour down on the skin as well. So this needs really the next step is doing some dry brushes to bring it all together. But he's getting there. Just need this wash to dry. And then I've also done similar on the what are they called? The Vikos Bloodborne. Again, you can't see them because they're pale, but it's kind of pallid witch flesh, and then I kind of made my own contrast using Acadian flesh tone and water plus in a 4 parts water plus 1 part paint ratio, and that's kind of flowed into the recesses. I've then done a kind of a brown wash into the deeper recesses, and then same as this one, just picked out the fur in the same colour, because obviously we know now these are all the kind of werewolf style vampires, aren't they? So I thought it made sense to match them all through the same colour scheme. Dave, do you want to show us what you are working on?
Sure. So I'm getting through this guy a lot quicker than I thought I would be. So I've left his shoulder pad there empty because I'm not sure what I want to do with that yet. But yeah, I seem to be getting through it very, very quickly. I might have to find something else. I'm quite nervous about edge highlighting and stuff at the moment, so I tend to do that off, not on camera. But the base colours are really all down on him now. I'm just going to tidy up a little bit and start applying some washes.
How are you finding the contrast black over white?
I really like it. So you actually gave me a tip, Matt, to try and use it over Mechanicus Standard Grey, and I have actually got an example here. But actually, I prefer the finish over Wraithbone for what I was after. So I'm sadly sticking with Wraithbone, I'm afraid.
Hey, if it works for you, it works for you. That's.
Is he a Raven Guard, Dave, or a Black Templar?
Well, I've not put anything on his shoulder pad yet, so I haven't decided what's going on with him. I do like the molded shoulder pads, but with these easy build kits, I mean, it was a pain getting the Deathwatch shoulder pad on, so I'm not going to mess around with molded pads for the other side. So I'll have to decide what I'm going to do with him.
Max some transfers on. You've not used transfers before, have you, Dave?
No, I really need to this year. I don't know if it was one of my hobby resolutions, but it definitely should have been.
Cool. Well, that's good. I'm sure we can offer some guidance on that.
Yeah.
But no, that's looking good. That's looking good, Dave.
Yes, thank you.
What's the plan on your painting kind of like schedule? And have you got a master plan then before AOS comes out?
I think I need to sit down and work out exactly what I need to do. So my Skaven is now obviously going to be my when AOS 3 hits. I've practically finished my Karajan, so I don't really have any. I have got an army of what they called Osteart Bone Reapers to do. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get those done by AOS 3. I should really give it a go. So I've got another army to play when that drops. But I have a feeling, actually, I might try and get my Deathwatch finished before then. I'm not sure. I'll have to decide.
Typical Dave. You can never decide what to paint.
No, I can't. I've been bouncing a lot between different things. I mean, the good thing about that is you never get bored of painting something because, I'm like, I fancy painting this today, and boom, I start painting it.
And you know what? It stops you from getting burnt out on a project as well, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. So we'll see.
Cool. And Jay, what are you working on?
So I'm just currently. I've done blocked out the white armor now. You can't really see it very well on the white base coat, and I'm just working on the underside of the cloaks now. So I've shaded them. I'm just bringing them back up now and highlighting them. It shouldn't take too long to do that. So I think I should be within the next hour starting to work on. I don't know if it's a gold trim next or the grey cloak. Undecided. But basically, yeah, it's the gold trim, then a wildwood sort of mix into the recesses across the gold and the white. I think I'm going to use basilican grey on the grey seer cloak. This little bit here is going to be blue. And then I've got some of the retributor gold to put on the helmet and things like that. There's not much to it. Oh, the back of the cloak as well is going to be like, basically, this is what a finished version is going to be like. So you can see the white armor with the gold trim, and then you've got this like Fenrisian grey cloak underneath, and then a dark blue cloak on the background on the back there.
That looks really nice.
So that's the plan. This is the stone mage, so he's going to be leading them. So yeah,
awesome, cool. Oh, well, excited to see them all. Yeah, it's gonna be fun to play some games with them all, isn't it? I mean, we've got was it a week tomorrow until maybe in the UK things start easing again. So that's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to playing some games, especially with everything that we've been painting recently.
Yeah. The question is, what system and what army are you going to use?
Well, I think if the Soulblight Gravelords are out soon, I would love to do a 1,000 point Lumineth versus Soulblight Gravelords as my first game after.
Well, I can probably do that using the contents of Curse City as well.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll aim for a Gravelords versus Lumineth battle report for soon after the release of the Battletome, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun. You need to get your scenery piece painted then, Jay.
I know, yeah, well, I mean, that's it. I think if I get these guys done this week, and then I think then I've got enough units then for 1,000 points, so I can concentrate on getting the scenery piece painted, which I think might take me a week. It's actually quite a detailed scenery piece, so I'm not actually sure how I'm going to approach it yet.
Okay.
But yeah, that definitely needs some paint on it before the battle report. So that's probably after these stone guards. I should really do that before I do the next character, because if I fail to get the Lord Regent done before we're ready for a Gravelord's battle report, I could always use this guy instead, who's a similar points cost.
Atharian, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Anonymous Rex is in the chat over on YouTube. How are you doing? Grim Dan says, Dave, get Microsol, game changing for decals. Vulnerable Gamer says, great products. Grace here says, looks great. I picked up the Lumineth model of the month. What colours did you use to do the whitish armour, Jay?
The whitish armour, sure. Let me get one of these guys
back
up.
to your cam, 2 secs. There
we
go.
So hopefully you can see him okay. Really, really simple. So these were base coated with Wraithbone, and then I just do a layer of Corex white over the white armor plates, and then I do my Liberator gold trim, and then it's 4 parts contrast medium, 1 part wildwood over the gold and into the recesses of the white armor, and that's it. You can then go back with the Corex white and touch up some of the places where you maybe got a bit heavy with the recess shade. But then that's it. I don't even edge highlight it with White Scar. I think it looks great like that. So it was really enjoyable to paint. And I use that trick. You can see it on this guy's probably a good example as well, because there's a lot of it on him. Just see, hopefully you got him in shot.
Looks really good.
You can see all and that's all it is, just the Corex white. So this guy was a bit different because I used dried bark, really thinned down dried bark into the recesses and over the gold. But I've since switched to wildwood contrast because I think it just flows a lot better, and the result, the end finish is a lot better, I think.
Got to say, my go-to thing at the minute for the Soulblight, the Gravelords is thinned contrast over base colours is amazing for shading and glazing. Just a quick shout out to the Commissar Made Me Do It, who has just followed us. Brilliant name, by the way. We've also got the Nevermore in the chat. Good evening, everyone. How is the painting going? Yeah, going pretty well. Going pretty well. I'm at that awkward stage where I'm waiting for washes to dry now, so I'm going to start picking out the silver on the Bloodborne, and I might have to start painting the kind of like the kind of pillars that they're standing on while I'm waiting for the washes to dry. And then once I've done that, there's lots of dry brushing to bring that kind of skin and the fur back up. So that should be a nice, quick, easy step. I like dry brushing. In fact, that's a good question, isn't it? What is your favourite and least favourite painting techniques?
See, I don't use dry brushing a lot, and the reason I don't use dry brushing a lot is because I really struggle. It's supposed to be like quite a quick method for painting, but I always find it isn't, because I always find I'm touching up a lot afterwards. I don't think I've mastered it. I don't like the inconsistent results that I get with it. Even on some of the videos that like you see on Warhammer TV, the painting videos where they say dry brush this, I find I can't, and I have to layer. It's just, I don't know.
And the secret with dry brushing is use a really, really soft brush. I've got a makeup brush.
Yeah.
Really, really soft. I'm sure you could steal some from the other half. And yeah, if you think you've got enough paint off your brush, there's too much on it, is the way I approach dry brushing. You want to be really, really subtle, really, really subtle. If you can see any paint at all when you wipe it on your tissue, you've got way too much paint on it. And I think that's something a lot of people get wrong with dry brushing. You wipe off some of the paint, but there's still a lot of paint on it. You've got to have no paint on there at all, and then just very, very gradually build it up. Now, overbrushing's a different thing. Overbrushing, you have paint on there, and that will give a different style of effect. But yeah, proper dry brushing. Yeah, you need to have as much paint off that brush as possible. Soft brush, really soft strokes with it as well.
It's something I'm gradually getting better at, I think. I'm still not a big fan of like edge highlighting and stuff. I don't know if it's I can't have a steady hand. I am trying it more and more, like more and more of my stuff, especially on like weapons and things. I'm trying my best to do some edge highlights and stuff. But that's my least favourite part.
So when you do when you do edge highlighting, how would you have yourself arranged on the desk?
So I tried to use the edge of the brush. I think you showed me that, Matt. I just tried to have my hands as still as possible, really.
Okay, so holding it like that. So what you want to do is, if you look on my screen, I've got my wrist and my hand braced on the table, and then use it like that, and that means you're not going to shake. And where if you're holding it up in the air, it's going to be so much harder to edge highlight.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll keep trying it. I'm gradually getting better at it, I think.
Spray screens are good ones to practice with as well, actually, because they've got a lot of the hard edges.
Yeah. It's one of those things that you'll get there with practice. It is one that you've got to master, though, isn't it? So yeah, shout out to JB Paints, who has followed as well. Thank you very much for the follow. It is most appreciated. So, Anonymous Rex says, my least favourite is dry brushing and my favourite is highlighting. I really enjoy dry brushing. I don't know what it is. It's just, I can switch off and just happily dry brush away. To be fair, that's normally the kind of thing I'm doing when I'm chatting on the stream here, because stuff like edge highlights on the stream, it's hard to kind of... It wouldn't be a very entertaining stream if we weren't chatting along as well. It's hard to kind of chat along when you're trying to do really kind of fine edge highlights, isn't it?
I like painting gems.
Painting gems,
Yeah, I like experimenting with like red, blue, green, purple more recently on my Lumineth.
That's cool. One of the things I always hated painting was faces. Absolutely despised painting faces. But I think recently I've got more confident with them after learning a few tricks. So my Sons of Bahamut, Horus, all of the new vampires. Rather than trying to highlight a face, I do it all with washes and basically paint the shades and the recesses in the face, the kind of if you look at flesh, it isn't a constant kind of colour. You've got like the veins, you've got variations in there, and you can get that effect by using purples and reds and blues on top of your flesh colours. And on a face, it makes it just look more kind of human.
I think your Sons of Behemat are a great example of what you can do with washes.
I've got Horus nearby, and he's very similar style. Hopefully the camera focuses on his face. Can we see? It's probably a bit too close. There we go. I don't know how that's coming out, but Horus, there's a lot of reds and purples in there to just try and get some kind of depth to his face and make it look a bit more human. So that's been something I've been trying to have a bit of an experiment with, and yeah, pretty happy with how it turned out. To do stuff like that, what I would say, make sure you've got your head separate to your model. We were talking about sub-assemblies last week, and that's definitely one thing I'd do if you're trying to do that kind of effect on something, because yeah, it's hard if it's still attached to the model. Gracie says, I'm teaching myself to paint again, so I'm finding using dry brushing to do cloaks and things really difficult because it gives me really blotchy results at the moment. So Gracie, what I say, make sure your brush is dry. If there's any moisture to it, you won't get the same kind of effect. And again, like I said earlier, if you think you've removed enough paint, you haven't removed enough, and just keep working the bristles into the tissue to get everything off there, and then give that a go. Really, really kind of light, kind of like the hold you'd have of a drumstick. So not kind of firmly holding your brush, just flicking it gently, and all you're doing is basically quickly moving those bristles across the raised edges of the model to try and build it up. Give that a go. See how that works out. The Rising Ape, hey fellas, I'm not hobbying at the moment, I'm still cleaning up after dinner, but I was working on bases for the Cursed City Skellies earlier. Awesome. What are you doing for the bases then, the Rising Ape? Anything exciting? Have you gone for some kind of like cobblestone bases or anything? Grace here, I'm avoiding mixing paints at the moment, just trying to do better colour choices when shading than highlighting. Yeah, I mean, paint mixing is something that a lot of people are intimidated by. You can get some really nice colours by mixing, and it's all about writing down what kind of ratios you use, so you can try and recreate it again. I know that's always easier said than done, and even in batches of paints from one system, I mean, we've found in the past, haven't we, Jay, that sometimes shades of paint from the same range can be completely different colours, can't they?
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I don't tend to mix very often, actually, because I sort of find games which have got quite a good spread of colours, actually, that I don't find I need to mix any, and it is that consistency as well. I think if you were painting single miniatures, Underworld's warbands and things like that, I think there's probably a case for mixing, because you've got a bit more, you know, it's a limited range of models. It's not that big a problem. You don't have to replicate that same shade across, 100 models, perhaps.
Yeah, well, with the Instar range, obviously we're lucky enough to be one of Instar's painters, and yeah, I've done a lot of kind of single one-off models, and it's been fun kind of mixing up unique colours. Obviously, they do sell like empty bottles that you can mix it into, but you're right, Jay. I think it does really lead itself to kind of one-off pieces, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that's not to say you can't paint. I've painted my Napoleonic stuff with mixed Instar colours. I just have a notepad with all the ratios written down. So it's just one of those. I suppose for ease, getting paint out of the bottle and it's the right colour, you can't get any easier than that, can you?
No.
So
yeah, it's a convenience thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah. Anonymous Rex, I'm only dry brushing bases. Grimdan, I love when you spray the final matte varnish and it brings all the colours together. So satisfying. Yeah, that's a nice moment. Do you varnish your models, Dave? I know you do, Jay, don't you?
I do, yeah.
On heavy contrast models, I use Storm Shield. Is it Storm Shield?
Yeah, out the pot.
Yeah, out the pot. Yeah.
How have you found it, Dave? Does it stop it from? Because I know they kind of rub and the pigmentation goes, doesn't it, sometimes?
I love contrast, but if there's one thing that does slightly grate me, and I've noticed this even with Storm Shield, is on like the real, it's like pointy bits, like rivets and sharp points on the model. they can chip really easily, and the paint comes off them. And no matter how much, some really sharp scales are probably the worst for it. But the Storm Shield does help to stop it from chipping away.
That's good to know. Yeah, because we noticed that. I think we noticed that quite early on when we were having a play with contrast. That it just, I don't know, it's not even like chipping. It's like the pigment just comes away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know why. It must be just the way it must just be the way it separates, from the medium. The way it kind of spreads the colour around the model, and it just
It's like
comes off.
I'm already noticing on the Black Templar on this bike, on a couple of the small rivets at the front near the front wheel, they're lighter because you can see more of the undercoat coming through.
Yeah.
Because the Black Templar hasn't really settled on it very well. So I'll probably have to go back over that and then Storm Shield it.
That's a little bit frustrating.
But saying that, I still love contrast. I mean, most of this is contrast.
Yeah, I mean, I've used contrast in a lot of recent models. It's definitely got a place in the toolbox, hasn't it? I'd like to see some more colours added to the contrast range, actually. Expand what colours they've got.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. So JB Pink says, "Evening, gents. I thought I was already following. It's fine. You're following now. It's all good. It's all good. How are we doing? What are you working on, JB Paints? The Rising Ape, broken cobblestones with moss in the cracks and a few tufts. Really pleased with how they came out my first time using Milliput. Yeah, see, I'd have liked to have done that if it wasn't for the case of that I knew that this stuff was going to be the basis of my Gravelord's army. I've done... Oh, we've got Curly Joe following as well. Thank you very much. What was I saying? Yeah, so I've done armies where they've all been on sculpted bases. Some are demons, and while they look really cool, it is a pain because it's so much easier just using kind of sand and painting the bases, isn't it? The fact that that every model in that army is going to have those sculpted bases does make it a little bit difficult in the future. So I've tended to steer away, and even my most recent demon stuff, a lot of them are kind of based kind of with sand. I use the same colours to tie them together, and I don't think it matters too much having some with like the cobblestone and some on the sand. But yeah, I think in future I'll just stick to classic GW scheme, sand and then colours, tufts, the usual. I've even kind of fell out of love with the basing paints as well. I think just sand looks better personally. I know you guys like it, and I use it for the Titanicus stuff just because I think the cracks look better at that bigger scale.
Yeah, I don't tend to use a crack one. I use the texture one, and I use it because, I mean, sand goes on pretty evenly across the base, whereas that textured paint, you can build little mounds and dips and things like that, so you can get a variety of different textures. I've not used it on my Lumineth, though. I've used just regular sand on the Lumineth.
Yeah. What do you use? You use the basing materials, don't you? The base, what are they called? Technical paint.
Texture paint.
Yeah, I use an awful lot of Astro Granite, both varieties, the thicker stuff and the smoother stuff. I've had mixed results with like the crackle paint, but I'm planning on using that on my Skaven. What I really want to do on my Skaven is have bright green, like warp glowing bases, but like coming through cracks. So I'm going to use Modern Earth over like a really light green base. See how that comes out.
What you want to do, Dave, is put a layer of PVA glue between the green and the crackle paint. That'll make the crackle paint. If you check out Nick Baton's Titanicus basing post, you've seen my Legio Ignatum. In fact, I might have a Legio Ignatum Titan to hand. I can show you because this uses his basing scheme. Let's grab out a random Titan. So, can you see that? If not, it should be coming up on your screen soon. So that uses a combination of the crackle paints and the normal kind of basing paints. And that's not the best example. There's some more with bigger cracks and stuff in. Let's go with the Warlord. There you go. Can you see that? So the cracks tend to be bigger if you put PVA glue under them first, and it gives them more kind of impressive cracks, which for the Titans makes it look like, obviously the ground's splintering as they're walking over it. I think that look really good on the Skaven as well. In fact, it's for Nick Baton's Aeronautica, I think the actual post is. But obviously, the same thing can be applied for any army. And yeah, I found it worked really, really well. But yeah,
I'll definitely check that out.
Paint it green, PVA glow, Mordant Earth, and then dry brushing Mordant Earth a different colour other than black.
Right, I'll give
obviously,
that
what
a
you
go.
might need to do is do that perhaps without the models attached.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I do know a lot of the Skaven that I'm getting are on square bases, so I'll have to rebase them anyway.
Cool. Have you had much experience in rebasing?
A little. It is making me nervous, but you've got to do these things.
Well, that you know what? We could do a video on rebasing, Dave.
Okay.
There's a few little tips and tricks. Obviously, I had a massive. I don't know how many points it was, but I had a big Warhammer Fantasy Battle Demon army, didn't I?
Yeah.
Which all got rebased. And the secret is, so say you were rebasing this. Well, it's a bad example because it hasn't got a slot of base in it. But say you were rebasing this, what you do is kind of snip away the kind of outside of the base first, kind of eat away at it, rather than trying to cut it off the base because you'll just break the ankles.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've kind of cut away all the base, then what you can do is take a sharp knife and just start slicing down the remaining bit until you get just to the feet, and then you can just directly stick that onto a new base then.
Yeah, I might try that.
It's worth taking your time with it. Don't try and rush it, otherwise you will break some feet.
It's going to take me a very long time to rebase a lot of clan rats, but
hey, maybe we could have a round table where we sit chat Warhammer while rebasing Skaven. That could be a show, couldn't it?
What a fun show that sounds like. But I wouldn't mind the help. It's going to take me a while.
I'd be happy to help. I know what a fun job that is. I've done it myself. If I hadn't gone through that all again, I'd have taken my demons off their sculpted bases and put them on sand ones, but I've already rebased those demons once and there's a lot of them.
You're not doing it again.
I ain't doing it again. Not anytime soon. So, Brett says Citadel black and white are rubbish though. Nice to see you in the chat, Brett. To be fair, I always that's another plug for Instar, but I was using Star Black. It's a really nice paint, and their white's really nice as well. Mix it into any colour, easy colour mixing right there. JB paints. I used to avoid mixing, but I recently picked up a couple of Instar sets, and the versatility I get from them is great. Grim Dan, Dave, try the varnish from Instar, buddy.
Oh, okay.
It's really good. Grace here, I find varnishing matte somehow makes my models look a bit better, albeit ever so slightly taking the colour down on most significant highlights. So again on the Instar, I will stop plugging Instar in a minute, but they do matte and varnish additives as well that you can mix to any paint to give them like a shiny or matte look, which is good depending on what you want. Definitely worth trying out. JB Paints, I've got a Warlord and a Warbringer Titan built and undercoated for Titanicus. Excellent. I've got a Maniple box set plus a Warmaster Heavy Battle Titan that I'm going to paint in Legio Mortis colours, and I'm really excited to do them. I've just been painting this stuff since they came out, and yeah, the next few weeks is going to be interesting. I'm going to have to make a painting schedule. I've got a calendar on the wall. You should be able to see somewhere behind me. I might have to kind of map in on the calendar what I'm painting when, just to try and discipline myself on getting the stuff painted, especially if we've got new edition and all that fun stuff come in.
Yeah,
because like you said, I want to get as many armies kind of painted and ready for doing battle reports and content with you guys. We are thinking, if you guys are still free for it, of doing like Saturday gaming streams where we'll all get together, we'll play some games and stream them live on here. Should be a bit of fun.
Yeah, can't wait to see that.
Curly Juices, have you tried using textured card for parts of the bases? I'm looking to get some model railway stuff for Titanicus. Yeah, that's a really good idea. I've not done it myself, but depending on the scale, and I'm not sure what scale Titanicus actually is, you might have to experiment a little bit because, obviously giant war machines don't exist in the real world. But yeah, I imagine you'd be able to get some decent base material made out of them. They do.
Imagine walking into like a proper model railway shop and asking, I'm after some basic material for my Titans. Look at you, well weird. Like what?
Well, I'm sure they'll be able to help you out though if you know what kind of scale that it is.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's a variety of different scales that model railway stuff tends to be in. Off the top of my head, they're probably going to be a bit out of scale for Titanicus, but some organic stuff sometimes works in multiple scales anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What I would look at as well is anything for what's the name of that game, Jay? Not Drop Zone Commander.
Drop Zone Commander.
That is going to be approximately the same kind of scale. There might be some stuff available for that you can use. I mean, honestly, the Games Workshop kits for Titanicus are really good. I've got a load of the scenery. In fact, on my desk in front of me, I've got some of the bits that I haven't painted yet, and little containers in Titanicus scale, and all these little pipes and stuff like that. I use these all the time on my bases. I've got kind of a pile here ready to put on my Mortis stuff. Just because, again, the best thing with the Titanicus stuff is creating that illusion of scale. So if you got your Titan next to a container or something recognizable from 40k, it immediately makes the scale look a lot bigger then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Make it more, again, realistic as giant war machines stomping around can be. But your brain goes, oh, that's a container, or that's some pipeways. I know how big they should be in 40k. And the same with the basin as well. That's why I try to go for like big cracks and stuff, just to, again, grass tufts, let's say, ain't going to work on a Titanicus thing, are they? Because
no.
That'd be a tuft of grass as big as a tree. It isn't going to work. So yeah, but no, there's some fun stuff you can do with Titanicus Basin. Gracie says sounds amazing. Brett says hi. Gracie says, albeit I'm now holding off rebasing old Warhammer Fantasy Skaven in case they can be used in the old world. Yeah, that's a possibility.
I rebased all my dwarfs, and I'm thinking, I'm thinking they might get new dwarf models. So I know they mentioned Norse dwarfs in some of the stuff we've seen so far. So
I think a lot of the stuff in the old world is going to get new models that we're going to want to have, and there is always the possibility that the different units than we had in classic Warhammer Fantasy. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Curly Joe is working on the new Princeps box 2. Dodgy Roller says a Saturday stream sounds awesome. JB Paints, these are from the Maniple box and a pledge for Solaria. The Reaver and the Warhounds, I'm thinking might go to Legio Magna. Cool. Curly Joe says a Warhound is about 15 meters roughly. Right, I'll scale down from that. Cool. Been browsing eBay for old Epic models for dioramas too. Yeah, if you can get some of the old Epic Rhinos, Land Raiders, stuff like that, again, instantly kind of gives you the scale of the Titan, which is really, really fun. So yeah,
we first saw Titanicus at Warhammer World. I loved that guy converted the land speeders and things, hadn't he? Made them himself, epic scale land speeders.
I think it was the guy who actually sculpted the Reaver, wasn't it, and made his own land speeders to put on the bases.
Yeah.
So make of that what you will. Also, interestingly, when you were talking about the new Aeronautica planes earlier, they are all Heresy era ones, so they'd fit in quite nicely with the Titanicus stuff. So who knows? Maybe we'll get epic scale Horus Heresy at some point. I mean, that'd be really ace, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be cool, especially with the Siege of Terror, really getting on now.
Exactly, yeah, I'd be all over that. Right, we've got the silver down on these, so what I'm going to do is touch up the hair with black, and then for the hair, what I'm going to do is a black to dark red transition. So I've got a lot of my Grave Lords have got this dark red. I called it Goth, Mephiston Goth. It's basically Mephiston red mixed with Instar black for kind of
course.
a darker red. But obviously I've got that colour in a lot of my Gravelord stuff, so I'm thinking if I transition from like the tips being this red down to the black at the base, it keeps that red colour in the Vikos stuff, then as well.
Yeah.
Anonymous Rex says eBay is probably the best bet for all the 3D printed stuff. Going to put the 3D printer to good use for Titan bases. You know what? I'm surprised none of us three have bought a 3D printer.
I know Chris has got one. He does loads of cool stuff off of it.
Yeah. Think of all the cool scenery and stuff we could make.
Yeah, I've seen some really nice, and the files for them are quite easy to obtain as well.
Yeah. Obviously not condoning any, not supporting any piracy on the channel.
No, but you can buy some really high quality, what they call like templates.
Yeah. Or even make your own.
Make your own, yeah.
So yeah, Gracie says they could just call it Space Marine or something. Yeah, exactly. Oh, can you imagine? I mean, we've talked about this in the past. I don't think either of you guys actually played Epic, Space Marine, any of that family, did you?
No,
I never played any Epic. I was always tempted by Warmaster.
Yeah.
I think painting that scale of models would scare me to death.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a lot less to paint. They're only teeny weeny.
I know. I don't know. I don't know why.
No, that is somewhere where you'd probably just dry brush.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just the illusion. Just the illusion of the models rather than worrying about trying to like paint them properly. So yeah, if anything, they're easier to paint because you haven't got any detail to do. Yeah, I like epic scale games. You've not played Titanicus either, have you, Dave?
Nope. Still haven't played it.
We need to fix that at some point as well. Then
I'm kind of fearing when I do play it that I'll be like straight out with the card kind of thing.
Straight out with the card. Well, at least there's some good value boxes you can get into Titanicus with now.
Yeah. Yep, there is.
If Brett's still in the chat, we're actually starting a Warhammer Fantasy roleplay campaign next weekend. So really looking forward to that. We'll be playing through the new campaign. Obviously we're on book 2 now, book 3 is out soon. And yeah, really excited to doing that because it's some proper grim, dark Warhammer where horrific things happen to you. And then when we can, I think we'll be playing some Soulbound as well, guys.
Oh yeah. Looking forward to that.
So were either of you interested in joining in with the Warhammer Fantasy roleplay?
I think it's that old chestnut of time. There's so much stuff that's going on at the moment that I fear that could be my enemy. But saying that, because I think we've dabbled in Warhammer Fantasy before.
Yeah, we played through the starter set. You were the expert gunmaster who couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
No.
You started
Did I start a brawl? Yeah.
You started a brawl, yeah. Within about 5 minutes of you rocking up in the city, you guys had started a brawl. It was a really fun game, that.
Yeah, it was funny. I never seem to have much luck in those.
No. It was it was pretty funny that you couldn't hit it all. So for epic scale games, Grace here says Contrast would be your friend. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, Contrast, yeah.
JB Paint's never played Epic, but I had great fun picking up a large Flames of War British force a few years ago. Yeah, I really want to play some more narrative games. There's a new starter set coming out for what's it called? The Warlord Games World War II miniatures game. I forget what it's called now. Bolt Action it's called.
Oh yeah.
And there's a new box set coming out with the US versus the Japanese. Looks really good. So I might pick that up. Brett says I'm super excited for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Can't wait to roll for characters. You should play Dave and Jay. It's going to be once every 2 weeks, I expect. And it's one of those campaigns where if people need to drop out and then reappear, we can easily account for it.
Jay reappears every time there's no fights.
Exactly, yeah.
Conveniently reappears to pick up the loot.
Grace here says, I played Space Marine a little bit, and the original order counters are a great way of introducing variation into You Go, I Go. Yeah. I really liked Epic. I really want to see a new edition of that. And I think we'll get it. Obviously, we've got all the Titanica stuff. We've got all the aircraft from Aeronautica. I think it's just a matter of time until we get it eventually. Just think of the tiny Space Marines. Right, so we've got the base colours down on here. So I think next step is dry brushing, starting with the fur and using Baneblade. Baneblade Brown. How are you two getting on?
Yeah, I decided that I would do the Grey Seer Cloak next because it's a bit of a messy stage as well. So currently these models are just at their blocking out messy stage. I think probably, what time are we now? 15 minutes left. I'll probably get the grey done on all the robes, and then on Tuesday's stream then it's going to be starting to add a bit of detail or start looking a bit more like a finished model, I think, on Tuesday.
Nice. That sounds good. So all I'll show you is my process for dry brushing. So taking as much paint off these as you can. That's too much, that's too much. That, you see there, is probably about the right amount of paint on the brush now. So really want to take most of it off, and then just super subtle, and then just really lightly flick it back and forth across the model. It'll take you a few passes to do these, but you'll gradually pick up a kind of more subtle finish on it, rather than something that looks a bit chalky. Again, the wash is a little bit wet here, so not the ideal consistency for it, but you should be able to see it is just starting to subtly show up on the tips of those bits of fur. And then go back in, load up your brush again, and just keep doing it to slowly build it up. And then any kind of like detail bits, I use the little makeup brush that I showed earlier, and then I'll pick up the bits that I've put in previously, just work them into the bristles, and just keep doing that. Nice mindless entertainment dry brushing this. Don't have to worry too much about it. Obviously the order that you dry brush the parts of the model does matter, because you don't want to get any stray bits on. But yeah, taking a load off and then just slowly building it up is the way to go.
Do you think you're going to check out any of the new brushes that Games Workshop are releasing?
I think for review purposes we're gonna have to try that out, aren't we? I've always used recently natural brushes, so sable brushes.
Yeah.
I haven't used I use dry brushes because they're I don't want to knacker my decent brushes. I use their wash brushes as well because they're pretty good. I wasn't super keen on their last wave of brushes, to be fair.
No, the Artificer brushes weren't that great, I didn't think.
So the Artificer ones were actually rebranded Winsor & Newton ones.
Oh, right. I don't know. I use the Army Painter ones, which I think are natural ones.
Yeah. So I think what I'll do, I might pick up a set of them, just for reviews, and give them a go on the stream maybe, and try them out with you guys.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm gonna try out one or two of them, I think.
Yeah, I think we'll do that. Obviously, depending on how much they are. If they're,
That's the thing, I think. Yeah.
If they're 4 or 5 quid a brush, then that's not too bad, is it? If they're any more than that, I'll just keep buying my brushes that I currently use. But if they do a bundle with all the brushes for something half reasonable, then I'll definitely pick up a set and give it a go. So Curly Joe says, I do worry a little about how many ongoing games a specialist studio can support with any decent level of going updates. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I think they're expanding all these departments. There's been a lot of job adverts for things like Underworlds and Warcry, and even the AOS team. So I think they are massively expanding their operations, aren't they? Which is good to see.
They are.
Robert Scott says, good to hear that, Matt. I think I went too hard on my latest dry brush on Griffhounds and got that chalky look. Slow and steady for the win. Yeah, definitely. That's the secret. Don't try and rush it. You'll need a few passes to get it to kind of slowly build that effect up. And some models, it'll work better on than others. So the next step on here is going to be dry brushing the skin. I'm not going to do that on the Bloodborne because they're too angular. They haven't got the kind of spiky bits that we've got on there. What I will do though is just give these kind of furry bits here a quick dry brush just to get some pigment on them. But yeah, the skin I'll probably have to highlight traditionally. So yeah, it's one of those. It's with all techniques though, isn't it? It's just practice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the more you use it and the more you experiment, the more comfortable you get with it. And that's I think that's kind of what my hobby resolution was this year for the kind of pushing myself with painting. Try something. If it doesn't work, you can always fix it. Where if you don't try something, you never learn, and that's it. Death or glory. I think it's safe to say that it can be intimidating learning to paint the first time, though, can't it? But it's certainly a lot easier than it was than when we originally got into the hobby, isn't it?
Oh, Dave, remember those enamels we used to use? I can't remember what they were now.
Like Humble, were they?
Yeah. Oh man, I painted my first Eldar army with those.
Yeah, I painted my first. I had a Wood Elf army that I bought first but painted last because I used GW paints on them. But my brother had a Dark Elf army and we painted them up first using Humbrol paints, and yeah, they weren't the greatest.
I remember. I think the first paint, because when we originally started painting, Jay, I would go out my way to not. Do you know? Actually, just bear with me 2 seconds. Just hold my headset down for 2 seconds.
This is ominous.
He's found his first. Yeah, it was Ultramarines. Out of the Space Marines starter battle box, you got old school Terminators. I think you might have got. A land speed. No, you might maybe.
We're talking the original like £40 start collecting boxes. I can't remember what they were called then.
I thought they were called battle boxes.
Were they called battle boxes?
Battle
Forces, yeah. Yeah, Battle Forces. They were good. I remember I was working work experience in a local model shop, ABC Model Sport, that used to be on Nantwich Road, when 3rd edition 40k dropped. Yeah, that was.
My brother Lee. Fun. We volunteered in that shop.
Did you?
They were doing a big restock and sort out, so we volunteered to go in and help them do all that. And I got a box of Dark Angels veterans for it. And
amazing.
Lee must have got some orcs.
Yeah,
that's where we got our battle forces from, the Eldar from.
I was going to say, because the Eldar one had just come out and it was a really good box, and I think I got one of them as well. The guy gave me that as a bit of a gift when I finished the work experience.
Yeah, Lee got the Dark Eldar one with the jet bikes.
Dark Eldar was really, and they all came with those plastic trees as well.
Yes, they did.
The kind of jungle trees. Memories, eh?
We got into it just as the Tau had just come out, because our friend got the Tau. He was collecting the Tau, so I got the Eldar. Dave got the Space Marines. Lee got the Dark Eldar.
That's really
cool.
So
the reason I disappeared is because I've redug out this guy. He's on top of my painting cabinet.
I'll switch to you, Dave.
Switch to my...
Oh, no way, Dave. Is that
your first Space Marine?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he was my first Space Marine. I think they might... But yeah, he's one of the first things I tried to paint. It is awful, but like I just love seeing that now. Look at the size of his base for a Terminator. Next, obviously, what I'm painting now. It's great to see how you come along.
Yeah.
I wish I kept more of my original painted stuff.
Yeah, I do too. I've not got any of my really old stuff. I don't think I sold my Wood Elves. I shouldn't have done that. I always regret selling armies because even if it's old stuff, I guess it's got sentimental value, hasn't it? I did find something the other day which I absolutely need to paint at some time. Check this out. Let me bring the camera up. The original Terminator box from Rogue Trader. Look at those awesome. Terminators, guys.
That's awesome.
How cool are they? All metal ones as well, and some of the old classic artwork on here. Yeah, I don't know how much this is worth nowadays. It's still in the box, but part of me does think, do I paint them up one day? Do I paint them up one day?
I think you should.
A Terminator in every chapter of the first founding chapters.
I think that'd be pretty cool. JB Payne says, I was slightly disappointed the Saturday reveal wasn't Heresy, though I was also a little relieved. Yeah, I think all our bank balances would be crying if we did have a new edition of Horus Heresy on the go.
Yeah.
So I've got down that dry brush of Baneblade Brown, and now I'm going to do a pallid Witch Flesh all over this and kind of targeted on the Bloodborne. See how that goes. Grace here says the latest community article has gone up on the site and has the new brushes and the Soulblight Battle Tome on pre-order from Saturday. Yeah, I'm super excited for the Soulblight stuff. Looks like it's a 2-week release as well, with half the stuff up this week.
Oh, that surprises me.
Yeah, half the stuff up this week, the rest next week. Now I do wonder, Jay, if we'll see obviously half the Soulblight this week, the other half next week, and then Kragnos or the AdMech book at the same time.
Yeah, well, that surprises me because, yeah, I would have thought they want to get Kragnos going now. It depends when Age Sigmar 3 is coming out then. I suppose it must be maybe a similar like July release. So maybe we got a bit longer for Age Sigmar 3 than what we thought.
I expected mid-July as a kind of release for it. I'm sure that's when they normally have their releases. June, July. Don't think it's gonna be early June. We'll see. Hopefully we'll learn a little bit more as they start going through this.
Because I've got a lot of elves to paint. I've definitely got a lot of cavalry to paint.
Considering we're halfway through May though. This dry brush has gone pretty well actually. Let's see if that focuses. So you're just starting to build up the skin texture and the fur texture on this Varg's gear. Such a nice model. Really love this guy. Steve Harbour says, I'm basing with Martian Ironcrust. What colour for a tactical rock?
Tactical.
Don't know. What would go well with them?
Grey might go well with the red, but
Mechanica
I guess if
standard grey highlighted with Dawnstone maybe, but I don't know if that'd stick out a bit on the very red. I don't know what Games Workshop use for theirs. I think they just use variations of red, don't they?
Yeah, there's not really like a terracotta. Let me have a look. I don't think there's like a terracotta colour, is there?
No.
You've got the Jacaro orange. You've got the white towel ochre, but that's not really a terracotta-y colour. But this might be where you have to mix something.
Yeah. Man, I'm surprised they haven't got a shade like that. Maybe, I don't know. Zandri Dust and hit it with an orangey contrast, maybe?
Yeah, possibly.
This is where we get to hear Jay's painting organisation.
I'm having a look now for like some reddy orangey colours, but I can't really see any. No.
Gracie says, definitely keep and paint those Terminators. They're so much better than the ones that came in the Spacewalk box. Yeah, they're so cool. Curly Joe, at the risk of another Instar plug, what type of weathering powders do you use? Well, currently Instar don't do any weathering powders. I use, I think they're MIG weathering powders. Now, if you've seen my Necromunda article, I used for that. I think there's some old colours that you can't get anymore. But yeah, MIG definitely do some. I think a few paint companies do some weathering powders. They're all very much the same. They're all the same kind of stuff. Rob Scott says, do they use Doom Bull Brown? Feel like I saw it in a video recently. Oh, maybe. Is that a browny orange colour? I don't think I've got a pot of
Doom Bull.
I've got Gorthor Brown there. That could work, but I don't know if it's a bit too browny. Maybe with a spot of red in it, maybe.
Jokero orange is like the highlight colour.
Yeah. Maybe you could work up from a brown and go to that though.
Yeah.
And then give it a bit of a what is it, Cassandora yellow?
Yeah.
What do you use for? You've got some funky bases where you use a funny, unexpected wash that you thought it was ruined, and then you dry brush up. Was that a yellow colour?
That was yellow. Yeah, that was from. I do that for my Ultramarines and my. What arm have I used that on? Did I use it on the Eldar as well? Yeah, Ultramarines and Eldar. The Custodians I did slightly differently, but yeah. So it is the Agrellan. It's one of the. I think I've run out actually, so I've not done that base for a while. It's one of the Agrellan. It's the thicker Agrellan texture paint, which is like it's like a yellowy sort of deserty looking colour. And then I use Cassandora yellow over the top of that, and it basically turns it orange. It looks horrible, and you're thinking, I made such a big mistake here. Then once it dries, yeah, and then you dry brush it then with, is it Tyrant Skull?
Oh, Tyrant Skull's a good colour, yeah.
Tyrant Skull, and once you've dry brushed it with that, oh man, it looks brilliant, really, really good. Like it just looks like a desert planet. And then I do put some tufts on as well, some like dried grass tufts on, and black rims for that. And that is my sort of that is my sort of go-to basing scheme really. But I've not used that obviously on the Lumineth because I wanted a more of a mountain sort of feel to it. So I've just used the traditional sort of, what have I used for this? Sand, Mornfang Brown, Bala Brown, dry brush, then Ushapti Bone, dry brush over that. Cool. So I've not used any washes on these bases. And then I sprinkle some of the old style Flock-on static grass.
Yeah.
And the Valhalla Blizzard,
awesome.
Which is like one of my favourite basing materials, Valhalla Blizzard is. I use that on everything.
They look really nice, your elves with the snow on them. It looks good. Yeah,
because I mean it's an Emetrica themed army, the colour scheme and whatnot, and they're the mountain elves, so I thought it'll give it like the slopes of a nice sort of alpine mountain.
Nice.
Some grass showing up between the snow.
Well, can you believe it, guys? But it's 9 o'clock already. That's flown by, hasn't it?
Wow, that's mental.
So
yeah, that's gone really quick.
Should we end with a quick look of what we've all done? I have been working on these guys. Can we see him?
Oh yeah, nice.
So again, that's just with some subtle dry brushing, just bringing up the skin tones. It needs just one more dry brush on the skin, which is rack white, which is just like the sharpest highlights, and then these areas kind of go a pinky colour, as do the ears, and then the hands and the feet kind of go into a purple colour. So that's kind of the next step. But I'm really happy with how the furs turned out with that dry brushing. And then the Bloodborne are getting there as well. I wasn't going to dry brush them, but the brush was still loaded up, so I've given them a bit of a light dry brush just to pick up again some of the hair, some of the sharper features on them. And the skin's pretty much done on them now. I'm pretty happy with them. I've need to wash down the metal parts, and they've kind of got a red kind of like face makeup around their eyes, like war paint style things.
Yeah, I like that. It's cool.
We'll do that, and then obviously the hair I'm going to transition into a red as well, just to tie them into the rest of the army. But yeah, they're pretty much there now, apart from the bases. So yeah, really happy with them. Dave, do you want to show us what you've been working on?
Sure. So I've got an awful lot done on my Deathwatch Outrider. I've got a few highlights to do on him, and I'll do his base. But I'm really happy with how quickly I've managed to do him. Obviously, I've got another 4 of these to do eventually, at least. I might take 2 units of them. Just so good. They're just so good in the Deathwatch. And because I'd finished him in record time, I finished off this guy as well. So he looks a bit wet because I've literally just applied Agrax to him. But I'm slowly getting through my Death Guard to my Blight Lord Terminators. So yeah, he's just drying now.
There you go, yeah. Dave, absolutely smashing through the models on the stream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. And Jay, how are you getting on?
Yep, so just here, the Irish Stone Guard, I've done the cloaks, and then like I say, I've just been working on the grey robes now, the grey seer robes. So they're still at a very early stage at the moment. Hopefully on Tuesday they'll start looking a bit more like a finished model.
Awesome. Cool, good stuff. So yeah, that is it from us this Sunday. We will be back on Tuesday, where we'll probably be finishing off these, to be honest, won't we? Apart from Dave will have finished his unit of bikes and started on something else.
Onto a different model, yeah.
I'll be editing this week's podcast on Tuesday night, Matt. So look out for the new podcast hitting the interwebs Tuesday evening.
Yeah, so it'll be me and Jay on Tuesday then. Yeah, Steve, Tuesday we are streaming, so should be fun. So yeah, good night everyone. I hope you had a good weekend. Unfortunately, it's Monday tomorrow, but not long until we get some painting again on Tuesday. And yeah, the podcast should be in your ears very soon as well. So yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. See you later, guys.